Good morning, friends. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jessie. If you are new here, I do all kinds of lifestyle videos, motherhood vlogs, but I also share with you our budget, what we do financially throughout our life. Couple of disclaimers to start. First of all, it's very early. I have like no time this week, so I wanted to film this as soon as possible, but of course Ivy is having a really rough morning. I don't know, I just feel like all of a sudden the like tantrums kicked in and I'm just like, what do you do with that? So her and Ben were supposed to run errands this morning, but she's literally having a meltdown in the car. I can see them out front right now. Anyway, so if you hear a baby crying in the background, she's upset and I have no idea why. So that's the first disclaimer. The second disclaimer, I feel like I'm not gonna make these for my videos moving forward, but I had some conversation in one of, I think it was my August budget recap, about the fact that like we don't stick to our budget, that we should do better about all that kind of stuff. And for the most part, I agree with that. I mean, we're not like a super strict budgeting family right now. We probably will be soon when our income changes, unless it changes for the positive. But we've had a couple of things that have made our income go down and our expenses go up, which I can explain. If you didn't know, in the end of August, we found out that we had toxic mold in the apartment that we were living in, and we didn't know if it was affecting our health. I'm pregnant, those kinds of things. We have a toddler, we have dogs. Ben's had a lot of health issues. So we made the decision to move because we didn't trust that our landlord would remediate it the way that it should be. And I stand by that choice based on what he's done since we moved out. That's just what happened with that. And that was insanely expensive. Our savings took a huge hit, which you guys probably won't even see in this video. Maybe I'll bring it up in next month's video. Our savings took a huge hit. We had to pay, you know, for 2 rentals for 1 month. We had to pay a large, they're not called down payments, what are they called? Whatever they're called for rentals. We had to do, I'm blue right now, by the way. I think the lighting in here because it's so early. So don't mind that, I'm not normally blue. We had to get rid of our couch, we had to get rid of our bed, pillows, we had to replace like some towels, you know, just all kinds of stuff. Like the bed and couch were the most expensive, obviously, but even like pillows and towels and washcloths and mold detergent and all this stuff, that adds up. Plus you add on the top of that the stress of that, and quite honestly, like we were living in between 2 houses. I was eating out a lot, I was getting coffee out a lot because my coffee machine was packed up, and honestly just because I needed like a little bit of goodness in my day. So we definitely went way over budget in August and in September. If you thought my August budget was bad, you will think my September budget is bad, because it is. And there was no way that I could guess what the month was going to be like. I had no idea. Like when I made this budget, you know, I tried to like think through things, but I didn't know what we were just going to be taking directly from savings, anything like that. So this budget this month was definitely more of just like tracking expenses. Like I wouldn't even look at the budget category because I had no idea what to budget. Plus I had planned a baby sprinkle for this month, which I planned before we found out about the mold, and I was anticipating like half the amount of people to come that came. So that was also a big expense that I was not anticipating for it to be as big as it was. Those are my very long disclaimers. If you're still here, let's go through the budget and we'll talk about it. Oh, and this isn't me saying like I wish people wouldn't have said what they said in August. Like I totally, like, go ahead. I mean, if you're mean about something, I'll probably delete it, but like I totally am fine for like conversation. I just wanted to give like my side of the story versus just like responding in comments, you know what I mean? And to prepare you for how bad this one is, okay? So let's go. Okay, so here's the budget for September. Couple of things. I made $525 less than anticipated. This is one of the income things that I was talking about. My client right now can only give me 2 blogs a week, which is about half of what I was making. So that's halved my income. I have reached out to another person regarding a possible like YouTube editing job, but I have no idea if anything's gonna come from that. So as of right now, I'm going to be making a lot less every month, which is totally like, I knew that this could happen with this job and there's a chance that they'll bump me back up. I just don't know that at this time. When I made my income, I made it based because I get paid 30 days after I invoice. So when I looked at my August stuff, I thought that I would have more income, but I didn't, because I didn't know that I was gonna be cut down on vlogs. So $525 less a month. Well, no, this month, it's even less. Next month I haven't. Hell, next month we're gonna be very tight when it comes to income. However, we got about $856 more for Ben's income. Part of that is because he got his cash grant, which I've talked about in other videos, but he gets a cash grant, I think for the next year, maybe, every like quarter, based on like something he has to be paid out of. And normally I put this directly in savings, but I knew we were gonna need it this month, so it did stay in our income. And then this is a little bit off, so you can see I put about $600 from savings into here, and that doesn't count about the stuff that I paid for just directly from savings. So our savings really took a hit. I just like, I'm not mentally in a place to talk about it yet, but we'll talk about it in October. But yeah, so I did make a tiny bit of money. Oh, we got a PayPal gift, which technically should be in the baby fund, so I might have to move that over. I should write myself a note. We did sell furniture, like a very small amount. I made like $80, something that was fine. A little bit of interest and an ATM reimbursement, and then the $600 in savings. So we made $11,000 last month, which was about $1,000 more than I was anticipating, but that's because I pulled basically whatever 856 plus 600 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, like $1,400 that's from savings. So really we made less than we were supposed to last month, if you think about it. I am so blue. I'm sorry, the lighting, I'll have to figure this out a different day. I don't have time today. Rent, our rent went up. So this is one of the biggest things with our expenses going up is, you guys know, our rent at the last place was $2,500. It's $2,700 here. So it is what it is. We didn't have to pay renter's insurance last month, life insurance, TV subscriptions. We do need to go through these things and figure this out. Obviously I'm like budgeting too much, but sometimes he has like random apps come through. I don't know what this kid does on his phone, you know? Car insurance. Ben didn't take out his money this month, thankfully. Pilates, which I'll probably be canceling in November would be my guess. Not only for money, but just because I'm getting like gigantic already, like pregnancy wise, and I just don't see it for me working just based on like how my body is. We didn't pay internet this month, and I think that's because we overpaid the month prior. So I'm not really sure what's going on with that, but that's like Ben's stuff, and I didn't have time to ask him yet this morning. Sorry if I'm going in and out of focus. And then $175 for our phones. These were all on budget and normal. These are my like business expenses. And then these were all normal. Our debt, we obviously didn't pay anything. I feel like that car noise came at a perfect time for you guys to see all of the red. And like I said, you can't really take the, like, I feel like I shouldn't put it in red just for like my own well-being, because I had no idea. There are a couple things we'll talk about that I could have been a little bit better about, but October, we are going into the month trying to be good. So we'll see how that goes. We went a little over budget on groceries. A big reason for that is because we used up all of our groceries at our old house and then had to replenish like staples, like things that we normally would just have, that we normally wouldn't do like a big stock up of. And you can see Costco is also a piece of our like groceries. We did buy a rug, so part of that, $200 of that is not groceries, but a lot of it is. Although again, we're really gonna have to figure out what to do with Costco because we don't have enough room in our kitchen for most of the Costco stuff. Restaurants and takeout, I went over quite a bit. Like I said, a lot of Starbucks. We had a couple of things come in from the month prior. Mango, which is like a random restaurant here. more coffee, ice cream. We got Thai food when we moved in, noodles, things like that. So some of these were like days where we literally didn't have food in the house, and I'm pregnant and I'm not gonna eat like a protein bar for dinner. Maybe I should budget wise, but like pregnant wise, I'm not going to. This was over, but this is definitely something I want to pay attention to in October, which I know I've said before, but like truly for a couple of reasons. One, because of money, obviously, but two, because with the mold can like stay in your body, and it does seem that that is happening to me. So I had a doctor appointment yesterday, and some of the only things you can really do to support your body when you're pregnant with mold, because you can't do like certain supplements or medications or things like that, is diet, movement, water, anything that like really gets your natural detox processes going. So I have to be more careful with the food I'm eating. I really need to cut out some of the more inflammatory foods again, things like that, which will make me feel better overall. But with that, that'll just be like an easier way to cut out going out to eat, because I can't control that as much. We only spent $70 on medication and supplements, and honestly that is because we had to take a bunch of it from savings, because Benjamin has to do like some major testing for like infections, mold stuff, whatever, and a lot of it wasn't covered by insurance, so we took that directly from savings. Moving on, household, we were a little bit over budget, but I don't even think that this, like, I think I didn't write everything down, but I bought like a vacuum, mold spray, we got some like stuff from Target for the house, vacuum cleaner filter. I don't even know what else is in here. So some of this is just like stuff that maybe I didn't take from the savings account, because a lot of the stuff that had to be replaced because of mold, like our bed, our couch, I took from savings, because there was just no way I could incorporate that into the budget. And then other things like little towels that I got, or like a Target trip or something like that, some of that I put in here. So it's a little bit between two places. It makes sense to us, might not make sense to you, but that's like what we had to do. We were a little bit over budget on beauty because I had a tip on, that's only a little bit of it, a tip from Venmo that came in that was actually from last month. Both Ben and I got a haircut. If you didn't notice, I cut off like 8 inches of hair because I needed something to be able to control, you know, in a month of feeling out of control. Personal spending, $348. So this is where things could have been a little bit. So a big piece of that is that Ben had to pay someone that he had like an appointment with that should have came out of last month's budget, but he didn't pay her on time. So that was $150, which is like the whole budget basically, but I hadn't budgeted for that because it was supposed to come out last month. I did buy some stick-on nails, and we bought a couple of shirts from Abercrombie. So those were definitely things we didn't need. I mean, yeah, I don't really have an excuse. They were things that we didn't need, but we decided, Ben and I decided together to purchase them anyway. Doctors, we were a little bit under budget. Acupuncture, I did have part of my hospital bill finally come in from when I went to the ER in like March or April. In fact, I think I owe like $1,000. I'm still waiting for that bill, which is annoying that it came so late, and also is probably gonna have to come from savings. So it's just been like, I just feel like a lot of stuff hit at once. You know what I mean? Like a lot of big stuff hit at once. The hospital bill came like 6 months late. We had the mold stuff, which not only made us move, but we had to buy new stuff for the house. Plus we have to do testing. Plus Ben has to do like some medication type stuff. And even I have to do like some stuff with that. So that is just a lot of stuff. Part of the hospital bill, Ben had to pay his somatic therapist, and then I had therapy. Moving on to utilities, it was a little bit over budget. Again, that's because we ended up having to, oh, I keep going in and out of focus. I hope this hasn't been the whole vlog. But utilities were a little bit up because we were paying for 2 houses, and I had no idea what to budget for that. I also budgeted high in October in case a couple of random things come through from the old house. Our car, and plus we have no idea like what utilities will be like here. For example, there's no fans in the house, like overhead fans, and it gets really stuffy upstairs, so we've had to run the air conditioning much lower than we normally would in order for Ivy's room not to be like sweltering even when it's like 70 degrees out. So that's been a little bit weird. We got to get some fans anyway. So yeah, utilities is a little bit off, but I feel like that makes sense. I feel like this is the one, you know, like we could have done better there. That's something that like, but we didn't. But like this type of stuff, there was no way that we could control that. Same with car. We were driving a lot more because we were going in between the two houses to like bring stuff back and forth. We were coming over here like 2, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Maybe not 5, but like 2 or 3 times a day. And then we did find mold in our car. It wasn't as toxic as the mold we found in the house, but they did still, they as in the mold people that we had stuff tested through, did recommend we change out these like certain filters and then like really clean the car. We decided to get the car detailed because time, and also we've tried to clean this car before and it's really, really difficult. I will never purchase a car, well, maybe I will, but I don't really want to ever purchase a car again that has fabric seats with kids and dogs and stuff. Like there were stains in it, there were like hair just like in it. Anyway, it looks beautiful. If I have a clip of it, I'll put it in or I'll link it somewhere, but if you care at all. But our car looks really, really good. It looks better than it did when we purchased it, and now we'll just like keep it up. But that was definitely, you know, a higher expense than we were anticipating. We had a car detailer come out to the house because we only have one car, so that was unexpected, but not something we'll be doing consistently. Cora and Finn, we were under budget. We just got them dog food twice, and miscellaneous, we were a little bit under budget. But that is like our change of address, the movers tip, the U-Haul and movers. And then I did pay for a Bailey Sarian. She's like one of my favorite like true crime YouTubers. She has like a show in October. I think it was like $18 or something like that. So I did put that in there. But yeah, and this is other things, like I could have put the U-Haul and movers in our savings, but it kind of just like equals out between the two places, you know what I mean? Technically we were about $1,100 over budget in variable expenses. As you guys saw, we were over budget on this category because I did buy Ben's mom a gift, and we had like the baby sprinkle invites, or I think we paid for the invites. We just have the basically just the baby sprinkle decor. In Costco, we like bought food for the party. We bought food for the party, and we ended up having like 40 people, and I was anticipating like 20 if I'm being honest. So that's just like, I wasn't expecting that, but it was wonderful. It was a great time. I'll have that vlog up probably after this one, but it was a beautiful party, but it was definitely a little bit more expensive than I was anticipating. We also overbought food just because we did it on accident, but we did overbuy food, so there was a little bit too much food, which I would rather have too much than not enough. But budgetarily, is that a word? Budget-wise, it was a little bit rough on us. So these are the two things that kind of sucked. I wasn't able to put any money in savings, obviously, or any money toward my taxes. So I'll have to do that like a little bit extra in October, November, December, just to like make up for that if I think that that's necessary. But that's just, I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't gonna pull savings to put in another savings account, you know, like worst case scenario, if my taxes are too much next year, I'll have to pull it from savings then, you know what I mean? And then we didn't have to pay any of this other stuff. So we did spend, technically we had $442 remaining, but if you remember, I pulled about $600 from savings over, plus Ben's, I mean, we just like won't count that. So we pulled $600 from savings over. So technically I could move this back over, but you'll see in my October budget, we are planning to be better like with our spending and our expenses. But again, I was not anticipating when I made my October budget with me that I was only going to get 2 vlogs a week. So my income is very low for October because I took the first 2 weeks of September off. Again, I get paid 30 days out. So I'm being paid for September and October. So I basically didn't get paid for 2 weeks. And then my vlogs were cut in half for the last 2 weeks. Very, very low income. So instead of like pushing money to savings and then pushing it back, I'm just gonna use it as rollover, making the assumption that we'll probably need a little bit of a buffer next month. And if we don't, I'll push it over at the end of the month. Again, I have Ally, so everything is online. I can kind of like move things around when I need to. But as far as expenses go, we definitely want to be more cognizant, especially when it comes to like eating out, personal spending, things like that. That is what our budget looked like for October. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the like low energy. I feel between like being exhausted, Ivy having a really rough morning, plus I'm not embarrassed about our budget because I don't think that I need to be embarrassed about it. It is what it is, and I'm showing you guys real life. I'm not like one of those like crazy strict budgeters, and like maybe I should be, but I'm not. So I'm just showing you like a real life person and what happens when I track my spending. But at the same time, it's just been hard the last 2 months monetarily. There's a chance that it could get easier or harder depending on if my income goes down or up, and then the amount of our rent going up and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely are thinking about the future, and I think right now our biggest thing is how do we get like as healthy as possible, take care of our finances as much as possible, so that next year we can make a decision on honestly living somewhere where we can afford to live. It's just so expensive to live where we live in Illinois right now. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll move back to Raleigh. That's what I want to do, and I think monetarily that would make the most sense, honestly. It does mean that like we're either gonna have to find a way to bring in more income, whether that means I work more, which I really don't want to do. Like I don't want to spend more time away from my kids, but at the same time, I don't know. So we'll have to figure that out, but we're not figuring that out right now. You know, this is our first, we've only been in this house for 2 weeks. Things were crazy. I hope you guys understand. I appreciate all of you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.